Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to episode number 5 of the Ball Talk Boyos, live and in person in the Shaw, home of the Firebird. Joey, how does it feel to be back in the land of the Red Men, some would say?
It's fantastic to be back here. And, as Kanye West once said about being home on Lake Michigan, man, it's just something special. Something special about it, man.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here. The sun is shining, birds are singing. We're seeing people walking past my apartment out here right next to the lake. Quick question before we get into anything else. What is the largest animal you think you could beat up with just your two hands?
With just my two hands.
Yes.
Crap. I feel like I feel like there's probably some species of whale that's
Species
like
of whale?
just hear me out here. There's some species of whale probably
Okay.
that's massive because it's a whale, obviously, but like not at all aggressive because of the way it's like developed over time. So I feel like there's got to be some species of whale out there that's absolutely massive, but not at all threatening and not at all aggressive. So I'll take
So like death by 1,000 paper cuts there, where you're just like boom, boom, boom,
pretty
boom,
pretty
until
much
it goes.
pretty much.
Okay, that's not a bad. That's probably the best. A lot of the other answers I'd heard of that question were just like bear, standard stuff with that.
I don't know if I'm beating up a bear.
Speaking of bears, not really, but we just watched as Team USA took the gold medal against France. I want to back up a little bit before we get into that and go into the semifinal game against Serbia. Did you know Bogdan and Bojan Bogdanovic aren't related?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I knew that.
So this is just like a common thing?
In Eastern European countries like that, a lot of these last names, a lot of these names in general, are all pretty similar, just with a letter or two difference.
Sure.
And so Bogdanovich being a common last name, and then
Makes
Bojan
sense.
and Bogdan just
Okay.
like being slight differences.
Yeah, I had no clue that they weren't related. I thought they were brothers. I thought they yeah, I was very surprised to learn that. But I think the one thing we can take out of the game against Serbia is thank you to Bogdan Bogdanovic for waking up the Avengers by hitting them with this, because that they did not take kindly to that. Let's just say that. Steph Curry had 36 points. LeBron had the 4th triple-double in Olympics history, I believe. Did you have any takeaways from their game against France or against Serbia?
I feel like first and foremost, even though Serbia lost, Nikola Jokic is an absolute animal, and I think he's cementing himself as the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, probably.
If it's not him based on this Olympics, it's LeBron James. But I think Nikola Jokic just has so much more of an impact and lifts the people around him up so much to the point where even though Serbia is much less talented than USA, I think that the fact that they were even close shows that Nikola Jokic is that special a player.
Yeah,
and so I think that's my main takeaway there. And then obviously Bogdanovich trash talking and like kind of flaunting that with the three. He was also trash talking Carmelo Anthony, I heard.
That was what he did. He was looking at him when he did this.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't do that to American basketball royalty.
Yeah, no, doing that to Carmelo Anthony when Carmelo Anthony has a lot of boo bears over there
Not
on
in
the
front
American
of the man
team.
that saved his life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was it LeBron that saved Carmelo's life on the banana boat?
Yeah, it was LeBron.
Was it LeBron?
Yeah.
What can our Pookie Bear do?
Yeah. What can't our glorious king do?
But Nikola played almost 38 minutes of the 40-minute game. He had 17 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds. Was very good. But yeah, like I said, this was the LeBron and Curry show. Joel Embiid was good. We'll get into him. Don't worry. I got some thoughts to rattle off about you, Mr. Embiid. But this was really the first time that the bench had been bad the entire Olympics run, and it was no Jason Tatum this entire game for second, third time during this Olympic run. Did you have any thoughts on Tatum not seeing any, just riding the pine?
I mean, I feel like with Tatum, right, his archetype as a player is similar to that of a guy like a Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Where he needs the ball. He's a ball dominant guy, and he's like a pure scorer type dude. So having people around him on the USA team who not only are in the same archetype but do his archetype better is gonna make it tough to justify playing Jason Tatum over a guy like Kevin Durant. So I feel like him not playing at all, while a bit harsh in a close game like that, you can't just like it's not YMCA basketball where everyone has to play a certain amount of minutes. No, like it's the Olympics. You gotta play the best players who's gonna be the best shot to win, and Kevin Durant's that guy.
Steve Kerr had some interesting quotes post game. He said, "Our second unit was not great Thursday night, but that group has been one of the bright spots on this team, especially on the defensive end. So it's not about what Jason is doing or not doing. It's just about combinations and the way the group has played together, the way Kevin Durant has filled in since he came back from his injury. It's just a math problem more than anything." You thoughts on that quote?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I was saying. We're
Okay.
in the whole thing of it's not necessarily a knock on Jason Tatum that he's not playing, but more so just that
The rest of the team.
The rest of the team is that good, and Kevin Durant's been playing that well, and it's just certain players fit better in more combinations than Jason Tatum does.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's going to be the case on something like the U.S. Olympic men's basketball team, where there's so many talented stars and only so much playing time to go around.
I personally don't get it. I felt like Tatum should have been starting from the start. Yeah, I believe on our first episode I said Jason Tatum should be starting for this team. He is at least a top 10 excuse me, top 10 player in basketball. I don't think that's hard to disagree with. He's coming off an NBA Finals run, which he should have won NBA Finals MVP in my personal opinion. And honestly, screw the math. Find a way to play your best players. And the fact that Derek White's getting ticks instead of Jason Tatum just doesn't feel right. And Tatum doesn't seem like he's the person where it's going to be I need the ball kind of situation. It's going to be, all right, I will play when I'm asked in whatever role I'm asked.
Yeah, I mean, if Devin Booker, who I feel like just on paper has a bigger ego than Jason Tatum, is willing to take more of a backseat like he has been, I don't see why a guy like Jason Tatum wouldn't take that backseat as well.
Play. Yeah, that's fair. Jumping ahead to Team USA, the France gold medal game. Takeaways from we watched basically the entire game. Takeaways from that. We have not looked really at the box score. I will say that. So this is strictly off vibes.
I think the biggest takeaway I have is get Gershon Yabusele in the NBA right now. He's been playing this Olympics like someone who is not only an NBA caliber player, but he's been playing like a top at least 100 player in the world. Oh. And so I don't see why he shouldn't be in the NBA. But getting more into the stuff people actually want to hear about. Wembanyama has such a bright future, and he's going to be so good for many years to come. I think that in terms of Team USA, Curry just shot the lights out and played, at least at the end there, one of the greatest games we've seen in Team USA basketball. LeBron James did LeBron James stuff where he impacted everywhere on the court. Kevin Durant was scoring pretty well. I think that even seeing guys like Drew Holiday, Devin Booker, Bam Adebayo had some nice dunks there. Like I think really Team USA looked as complete and as well put together as they have the entire run there.
That's fair. Looking at the stats, I'll ask Joey some of his thoughts, and we'll see. Curry took 13 field goals. Guess how many of of those were 3-point attempts?
13.
12. He was 8 for 12 from 3. He was 0 for 1 from the 2-point. LeBron was 14 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Joel Embiid only played 11 minutes. Like I said, Mr. Embiid will get to you. But yeah, Jason Tatum played 11 minutes. It's turned into Victor Wembanyama had 26. It did not feel like, and Yabu Seli had 20. So it was a pretty good game from the French. But I'm not surprised that it was the same feeling as when I was checking the box score for the Serbia game. They were down like 5 with like 5 minutes to play, and I was like, we're good. Like, too close, like too tall, too European. Like, mount a guy and just dunk on him. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised by all of that. U.S. had 17 turnovers to France's 13.
Sloppy basketball.
So kind of the same thing that you know who would clean that up?
Who?
Joe Mazzulla. Get him in the red, white, and blue, baby. Grant Hill, give me a call if you want me to help you out with that. Durant started during this game. He hadn't started a lot of the other ones. He wasn't bad. 15 points, 5 of 12 from the field, 3 for 9 from the 3. They took a lot of 3-pointers. They took more 3-point attempts than they took 2s, which isn't great. All right, Mr. Embiid, he had some quotes. He had some quotes after, I believe it was Serbia, in terms of the next Olympics. He said, "It's been a good experience. It's been a grind being away from home and family for a few weeks. But the group of guys we have made it easy. Paris is a great city, and the next one is in LA. It might not be with Team USA. It might be with Cameroon." Your thoughts?
I mean, I don't see. I honestly, contrary to what most people think, I don't see an issue with what Joel Embiid's doing here. I think that there's no reason he should have been playing for France after looking more into things there. I know France is pissed at him, but France never really accepted him in general. So him not playing for France, especially when people are talking about how they didn't want him on that team, that makes sense. And then he went to high school in the USA. He went to college in the USA. He's been living in the USA for like pretty much half his life. I see why he played for the United States of America. And with Cameroon not even qualifying, that makes sense even more why he's on the USA. So if he can get Cameroon to qualify next time, I would assume he'd play for Cameroon because that's his like main allegiance. It's Cameroon, USA. For some reason, he has ability to play for France, but it makes sense.
Could they have qualified if he'd played for Cameroon though? I think I saw like Pascal Siakam played for the Cameroon national team.
If Pascal Siakam played for them too, the Pascal Siakam Joel Embiid like duo there, I don't see why they couldn't qualify. If Jose Alvarado can lead the Puerto Rico team to the Olympics, I don't see why Cameroon couldn't have made it then.
Yeah, that's fair. In order to be allowed to participate since he has participated with the U.S., he needs to receive a waiver from both the FIBA and USA Basketball to make the switch. Steve Kerr should not have played him a single minute after this game. Clearly is just chasing the medal with Team USA, in my opinion, and was basically a non-factor this entire Olympics. Trying to think of what else we want to do. Any other thoughts on Team USA Basketball from this run?
I mean, this is the most competitive group of countries that's ever been in the Olympics for men's basketball. And USA, this is probably the best iteration of Team USA ever, in my opinion. Even though they weren't the most dominant iteration, this was the best iteration.
I think there's a drastic difference. I think I saw somewhere that it's like 60-some NBA players are with the non-US team. And like back in 92 with the Dream Team, it was like 12.
Yeah.
So there's like a pretty drastic difference. I can't remember if I asked you this question, but like we've Dream Team, redeemed team. What is the 2024 team going to be, or should they be called?
I mean, I think last time I said the redemption team. However, right now I just think it's the. I think it's something like the. I think so. World War One, right? The people who fought in World War One, that generation is known as the greatest generation or the golden generation, and so I think the amount of the stars playing for Team USA right now with LeBron, with Curry, with Durant, that's like the golden generation of USA basketball. So I think this is the golden team.
Golden team.
Golden team.
That's fair. Ended with gold. I thought about it. I can't remember what we each said. That the redemption team sounds very familiar because it was based off the last couple of FIBA World Cup finishes. I think this is the last dance team. Probably the last time we see those three, like you said, LeBron, Steph, KD, put on the red, white, and blue. So I think it's in good hands. They need to do a better job with the non Olympic year teams and kind of constructing um, those groups. Another group that has kind of received some criticism based off the where they were in is the Team USA 4x1.
Yeah.
They have not medaled in this event since 2004. And since 1995, the U.S. have suffered 11 baton errors, resulting in disqualifications, bans, including most recently at the 2022 World Championships and obviously now the 2024 Olympics. They were DQ'd. Who do you think is more to blame for recent struggles in some of these major championships, the athletes or the coaches?
It's got to be the coaches, right? I mean, you have some of the fastest athletes in the world here, and the fact that there's not enough chemistry there between them or enough practice there between them where they are able to avoid errors like this all the time kind of shows that the coaches aren't putting them in the right position to be successful.
I think I think they did have a camp this time around. I feel like I've seen some different clips or pictures from people having been at a camp, but probably the biggest issue was Noah Lyles not having run it when they were probably planning on him running the 4x1, and instead being Kenny Bednarek, who took off just way too early. So what do you feel like is the change that they can make moving forward to not have one of these disaster shows again?
Get the best U.S. sprinters more experience in running that 4x1 and get your 4x1 grouping nailed down and out there every time instead of throwing people in there just at random and kind of messing with the chemistry and messing with the practice that's gone into this. Because with handoffs for sprinters, it's not just a simple, oh, I know how to hand off or oh, I know how to receive the baton. No, you have to practice with that person
With
that
that
you're handing it
specific
off
person,
to.
yeah.
So I think just kind of nailing down who that group's going to be and practicing in your positions with that group is what they need to do more often.
Yeah, it's a good call. Trying to think if there's anything that's we kind of mentioned really quickly the 200. Any thoughts coming away from that with Noah Lyles taking third?
I mean, he had COVID coming in, and I know there's not restrictions for COVID anymore, but I mean, he got his big whole thing with the 100, and so I think if he could win the 100, which is not as much of as the 200 is historically, and then get third in 200 with COVID, I mean, Noah Lyles, I think, kind of has cemented himself as currently the fastest man in the world. However, he's not the world's fastest man because that's Usain Bolt. But I think Noah Lyles, very impressive. And if he was at full health, you don't know what's going to happen there. You don't know how much of an effect COVID played. You know how much he had experienced symptoms of COVID. But I think Noah Lyles, very impressive with the showing.
Yeah, you kind of hit everything. To hear more about our thoughts on the 100 and more like Olympic track talk, specifically check out our last episode. That was basically entirely just that was the track talk Boyos at their very best. But since we recorded that, Cole Hawker won 1500-meter final, and you, Joey Boreski, Bowie, correctly predicted that. Would you like to take a moment to talk about that for a little?
Yeah,
minute?
I'll take my victory lap real quick. People doubted me. People hated on it. People laughed, and everyone said that I was crazy for choosing Cole Hawker. But who's crazy now? Cole Hawker, like I said, was going to happen. Like I said, how he's the best tactical racer in the world. He went out there, he put on a clinic, and he made Jakob Ingebrigtsen his little boy there, basically. And I think that while Cole Hawker, purely if it's a time trial, just going straight for the world record, Cole Hawker is not going to win that. When it comes to pure, good old fashioned championship racing, Cole Hawker is the best in the world. And I was right. And he went out there and he showed that he is the best championship racer in the world.
I mean, it was just about, I think it was just about world record pace through, I forget what point, but it was world record pace, and a lot of that had to do with Jakob Ingebrigtsen's efforts. Do you think Jakob could win by running this strategy, and does he change the plan at the next major championship?
I mean, we saw today in the 5K. We're recording this on Saturday, August 10th, and when he just sat in the 5K on people and then waited till someone made their move, went with them, and then beat them at the end, he was successful. So I think him knowing that he is the most talented runner in the world in the 1500-meter event, for example, if he just races it and sits on the leading pack and then just goes for it then, that's where he's going to be most successful. So I think that he's going to change that strategy next time for sure. He already talked about how he's not going to use that same strategy, how it's a bad strategy. So I think that he'll change it up for sure next time.
Yeah, I think if you ran this race the exact same way 10 times, he probably wins at 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's like an overwhelming amount, but I do think there is like a realistic possibility where if he'd run the race this way for as long as they did, as many times as that you could have, that he would have eventually won it. Yared very much surprised me, but the result of that, almost like this race didn't feel real. Like hearing like Cole Hawker, as once again track talk boyos right now, but like as cross country and track athletes growing up in the United States, we watched all of his races. We talked about him after each time, and it's truly amazing to see somebody that we looked at that way finally have that breakthrough performance. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Last, there's a dog barking outside somewhere. Like, thought I wanted to bring up at the very start. How was the drive out here? How far of a drive was it?
It's about, just depending on traffic, because obviously when you're coming from Indiana into Illinois, you have to pass through Gary, Indiana, and that's a whole traffic mess. But it's like 4 hours.
Oh, jeez.
That's nothing crazy.
Do you ever feel like you have rides wherever where you just run into the worst drivers, like back to back to back to back?
Yeah, that was this past
Okay.
drive. I mean, it was 2-lane highway most of Indiana, right? Because you're in the middle of freaking nowhere. And for some reason, there was these semi trucks that like to swerve between lanes. Like there's one guy who like swerved and cut like someone in front of me like off like within a foot, pretty much, and that person like slammed on the brakes and drive out to the side. And then they just went the same speed as the truck next to them. So like the whole time it was just people being like not understanding their surroundings and people just kind of doing that. But I mean, it's not a bad drive if you get lucky, but I didn't get lucky.
I was only reason I bring this up is because I was driving to Milwaukee on Thursday, and as I was passing the Culver's, the one right over just down 52nd, like right next to that, like Quick Trip right there.
Yeah.
And it turns from, when you're heading west, it turns from 2 lanes down to 1. And I went over and I cut it, and I'm doing. I picked it up to get out in front of the guy because I was like, oh, I feel like this guy is like not going to drive very fast. Whatever, I pick it up, get around in front of him, and after I pass him, I'm doing like 50. It's like a 45 or whatever, and the guy's behind me going like, giving me one of these. Giving me one of these, and I think I think from now on, when like if he'd pulled up next to me and like said something to me, I would have just laughed. I think I'm gonna start doing that.
Well, we don't want to have a repeat of that one incident.
No, we don't need to. We'll tell about that story one day, but I'm just gonna laugh. But if he's like, and I'm like,
Right.
if I'm just like laughing at him, like pointing and laughing, like I'm, because he was in the car with like his what seemed like his elderly like grandparents or parents.
Oh, he's not doing it.
And he was like this the entire time, and I was like, it was a 45. I'm doing like 50, 55, and he's still hitting me while he's. And then I got on the highway, right? I'm doing 80.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I'm driving. Guy behind me, guess what he's doing?
85.
He's flashing his brights.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You're that much of a. You know what? To feel like you have to flash your brights in front of me. If the Red Sox do not walk this game off, we've got the Red Sox game pulled up behind you guys right now, our loyal listeners. If they do not walk this game off, might not be in episode number 6.
There will be an episode number 6.
Just might not be Topher.
We'll get upgrades. Don't worry.
Lowry Markkanen in the year of power forwards receiving mega extensions, it seems like Lowry Markkanen received a 5-year, $238 million contract extension. It was $14 million more than Franz Wagner and Evan Mobley. With it, he can't be traded until next offseason. After a lot of speculations about him potentially being traded this year. Any thoughts on the next Dirk getting a contract extension? That was sarcastic, by the way. For those of you who couldn't tell.
I mean, Lowry Markkanen's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. He's proven he's a good player now. But for the Utah Jazz in the current state they're in, locking up Lowry Markkanen long term like that and paying him that much money a year and not being able to have the flexibility to trade him right now.
For just 1 year,
right?
him.
But I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but if I'm the Utah Jazz and I'm in rebuilding mode like they are, I'm cashing in on Lowry Markkanen and getting someone who matches up more with the timeline that the Utah Jazz have. Lowry Markkanen's not old by any means.
He's entering his age 27 season.
Exactly, but the Utah Jazz still have to draft people right now that are going to be part of their core, and Lowry Markkanen is a couple years, I think, older than their core.
Yeah.
So I think it's not a horrible move. Don't get me wrong. There's been worse contracts this offseason, Klay Thompson, but I think
people don't agree with that.
People didn't agree with that, which it is what it is. But Klay Thompson's a geriatric dinosaur.
It had much more, I felt like, to do with the fit. Like it makes no sense to be paying a old. Yes, the money's not like bad, but paying an old shooter, this guy just did the dude perfect thing where he dove for the ball when he absolutely did not. He literally. Let's see if they should. They might not show the replay, but he was standing there. Here, we're gonna reenact it. He was standing there. He catches the ball like this. He's standing up, and then he just tips over. Hits him with one of those. Shout out Victor Carantini, I think that was, but it was just, it had much more to do with the team fit, I feel like. Like, it's not like what the team needs, like, at this point in their championship window, I guess. It's not a old shooting guard that is still not a bad shooter, but like when defense winds up being their Achilles heel and he's getting cooked by Uber drivers on Instagram, like, back to Lowry Markkanen. How did I forget that he played for the Cavaliers?
He was part of the trade that the Cavaliers did for Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, for Donovan Mitchell, that's right.
They traded Colin Sexton, they traded Lowry Markkanen.
It was a 3-team trade?
No, Lowry Markkanen and Colin Sexton were both on the Cavs. They both went to the Jazz. Unless I'm being
Oh yeah,
denser.
no. You're right. But how did he end up on the Cavs?
I think
He just signed there as a free agent
Bulls might it might have been a sign trade.
because he spent 4 years with the Bulls.
Yeah,
But his career high in games outside of it, he played 68 games his rookie year. Then he played 66 last year, in which he averaged 25, 8, and 25 and 8, and he was an all-star that year. Lowry Mark, we talked a lot about the Franz, Wagner, Evan Mobley extensions and comparisons to each other. I compared the three of them, Wagner, Mobley, and Markkanen. Guess how many categories Markkanen leads in between the three of them?
you'd think it'd be a lot, but I'm gonna guess like what 1, 2.
The only thing he's better than either of them in their first 3 years in the NBA was
First 3 years.
first 3 years. Yeah, just
Oh,
first
first
3
first
years.
3 years, and yeah, it's gonna be like 0, 1.
It was just 3-point percentage. That's the only thing he's better than either of them in. And this past year, he wasn't bad. I mean, the shooting percentage knocked down a couple of points. He averaged 23, 8, and yeah, but he's kind of going to be a non-factor on defense. He also just doesn't play a ton of games. The fact that he hasn't played 70 games and we're 7 years into his NBA career,
Charmin,
like
tissue paper,
it's
ultra
the
soft.
best. The best ability is availability, and when he's getting all this money to not really be on the field, get out of play.
Yeah, it's not a
But
great look for him.
no, and we'll see. Do you remember when people were calling him the next Dirk simply because he's European and tall?
Yes.
Yeah, like that was the entire reason that he was called the next Dirk was because he
Yes.
was. But we'll see what works out for him over the next couple of years as we see how this contract ages. I don't think it ages very well. I mean, if he replicates his stats now over that course of the time, like it's not bad, but he's kind of going to be a non-factor on a not so great team unless something changes.
He just puts up empty numbers, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably. Jumping over to a more. What would you describe the shape of a football as?
Ooh.
A pointy oval?
A cylindrical oval.
A pointy oval and a cylindrical oval are what we're going with. Moving over on to the cylindrical oval ball talk. This could be completely made up. Just want to say that I do fall for those like NBA Cental, whatever Twitter accounts. This could be completely made up, but Bears rookie quarterback Caleb Williams is now on the Tom Brady diet. He can no longer eat dairy, so milk, cheese, yogurt, or ice cream. No beers, wine, or any alcohol beverages. No bacon, sausages, deli meats, and red meat should also be avoided. No bread, pasta, cereal, or baked goods. No prepackaged snacks, chips, cookies. No white sugar, high fructose corn syrup, or refined sugars. No cakes, pastries, candies. No wheat, rye, barley. No tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, and potatoes. No beans, lentils, chickpeas, soy products. No canola oil, no soybean oil, no refined vegetable oils, no trans fats and hydrogenated oils, no coffee, caffeinated teas, energy drinks, packaged fruits, juices, other fruits, table salt, MSG. So basically, no fun. This week's calf talk debate of the week is: how long do you think you could go on the Tom Brady diet?
What's on the line for me?
Just
Like, what's the incentive for me to go on this diet?
if you go for every day that you go without by being on this diet, you earn $100 without taxes.
$100 per day.
No taxes. Red Sox also didn't walk it off, so might be the last you see guys see of me. I'm just kidding. That is a joke. It's not that serious. 1 of 162.
Yeah, I don't know how long I'm lasting. I'm not gonna lie. Probably not very long.
Not for that extra $36K a year. You're about to be homeless.
I mean, as Shannon Sharp once said, Mr. TMB, he's done on impact. You know what I'm saying? I'm not lasting very long with that.
No.
I'm not lasting long. I'm like Shannon Sharp. Not lasting that long at all.
I think I could go also no time, because that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
No coffee. No potatoes.
What can
no
you eat?
red meat.
What can you eat?
Probably chicken. Turkey. Grass.
Yeah, no, I'm not one of those
Decaffeinated tea.
I'm not one of those hippies, man. No.
Yeah, we're all good on that. So all in all, not very long.
I don't even know if I'm doing today, to be honest.
I remember I tried to go vegetarian for a week. Guess how long I made it?
3 days.
Like 18 hours. I wanted chicken nuggets so bad. It wasn't even a normal amount of time that where like I just coincidentally couldn't have gone. Like sometimes you'll just accidentally go like a day or two without eating meat.
I tried to go sugar free a couple summers ago. Like complete.
Shout out Craig Hunley. No added sugars. Craig.
I tried to do complete no added sugars 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
Summer 2021. Guess how long I lasted there?
Like an hour.
2 days. But I just ate a bunch of fruit, so I pretty much just had a bunch.
You
of
had
there.
sugars, just not added.
Not added sugars.
Sugars, I guess. NFL preseason games have kind of kicked off within the last couple of weeks. Do they matter?
No, they don't matter. They matter for finding out who your depth's going to be. They matter for finding that Victor Cruz once every couple of years. But in the grand scheme of things, they don't matter until you have your legitimate starting lineup out there, and until your rookie quarterback's going against the legitimate starting lineup. You don't know how good anyone's going to be. It doesn't matter until you have everyone. Until it's your best group of people out there going against the other team's best group of people. It doesn't matter whatsoever.
It has much more to do with the last few guys on the roster as opposed to the top groups of guys. So all you people out there that are overreacting about Caleb Williams's preseason games or Justin Fields or Michael Penix, it doesn't matter. How do you rank NFL, MLB, and NBA preseason? So their iterations of it in terms of importance.
I mean, MLB is the most important for sure. There, spring training is without doubt the most.
I also
important.
think you can take the most out of it because that's when you can like tangibly see if people are doing anything different. Like pitchers could be throwing different pitches, or players could have made an adjustment to their like hand placement before, like when they're setting up to swing. NBA might matter less than the NFL, though.
I think it does. NBA preseason. The only notable thing I can ever talk about NBA preseason is how Blake Griffin blew out his knee that 1 year. His first year, like.
Was that his rookie year?
Well, it was his supposed to be rookie year. He blew out his knee in preseason, so he didn't play his like supposed to be rookie year, and his rookie year then was the next year because he didn't play an actual regular season.
I don't remember that. Why do people always mention Ben Simmons in that? Or I guess Chet Holmgren now, but never Blake Griffin.
Well, Chet Holmgren was playing in like a rec league.
Blake Griffin was he rookie of the year?
He was rookie of the year in his
actual or his second year.
In his like second year, but like his first year actually playing games.
But yeah, NFL and NBA preseason do not matter.
No,
NBA does matter, at least to an extent. Brandon Ayuk has been receiving more trade interest. Reports are that he rejected trades to both the Patriots and Browns. Thoughts on him rejecting trades to those places?
Well, he's trying with the Steelers,
supposedly.
and I think
Shout out Trevor.
he wants to go somewhere where he can play with he's looking for a situation just like the Niners, but a place where they're also going to pay him the amount of money that he wants, and there's not really any of those situations around.
Yeah, it sounded like he wants to make sure he's getting his worth, which I think is understandable from like a dollar value. But he also wants to be playing with a good quarterback, which I think is understandable. At the end of this saga, do you think he gets traded, or do you think the 49ers sign him to an extension?
I think he gets traded. I think though I think he's causing more damage to his career than good with this. I mean, it doesn't seem like he ever wants to play for the Niners again. And so I think if he holds out, but I think right now the only solution here is trading him, and I think that's what's going to happen. But it's so hard to tell until he actually like says anything or does anything with this.
Yeah, that's fair. I think if I'm the 49ers, I'm begging to give him whatever amount of money he wants. He is not he should be the wide receiver one in that offense, even ahead of Deebo Samuel. I think he's better than Deebo Samuel. See that? Did you see that? That was the catch that I was talking about. He just toppled over.
Oh yeah,
for no good reason. Brandon Ayuk is who we think T. Higgins is. Let me pull up the head-to-head stats on them, because I was like, oh, we view T. Higgins pretty highly, don't we?
yeah.
Like, we think he's like,
Yes.
oh yeah, especially in that offense, like, yeah, he's the wide receiver two in a very good offense with a good quarterback and Jamar Chase, who's great. Let's see. Oh, this is taking forever because I'm. But yeah, they've played the same amount of time in the league. Here, let me compare. So that's the best way I can show it. And obviously, T. Higgins has missed his fair share of time, and maybe that's why we view him the way we do, because we're like, oh, if he didn't miss this portion of time, he would be better, or he would have like the stats to kind of back it up. But if you compare the two of them on Football Reference, Brandon Ayuk is better than him in every statistical category. Every single one.
Yeah, I mean, T. Higgins got a lot more shine going into last year, especially than Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk is good, and I think he's a little bit of a product of that 49ers offense too.
Is Brandon Ayuk the Justin Jefferson of T. Higgins?
I think Brandon Ayuk is I think based on what we're seeing there, he's not just the Justin Jefferson of T. Higgins. He's the Randy Moss of T. Higgins.
How can you say he's a product of what he's had when T. Higgins has had has the better QB?
Well, he's had the better QB at times, yes, but he's also, I think the Niners have a better overall team built,
better scheme,
better coaching. Like Joe Burrow's a better quarterback than whatever the Niners have had, but I think Joe Burrow also has a significantly worse offensive line, for example, and has had that his whole career.
Sure.
I think the 49ers had way more weapons at the running back position than the Bengals have.
Sure.
I think that.
Don't you think that would take away from Brandon Ayuk's production as opposed to add to it?
No, not necessarily, because if you know that you have to respect the running game more, if you know that there could be any amount of people coming at you, that's going to open up possibilities for you. I think that they're not as. I think T. Higgins and Jamar Chase have such a focus on them because they're not as worried about the running game in Cincinnati, because they know they can get to the quarterback pretty easily. So I think that as a result, Brandon Ayuk has flourished a little bit more. Granted, I think Brandon Ayuk is better than T. Higgins, though.
Yeah,
He's a better receiver,
and he should get paid. I think T. Higgins, he get franchise tagged
Yeah,
this year because there was a whole hullabaloo about him wanting. But all in all, Brandon Ayuk is who we think T. Higgins is, like who we all picture T. Higgins as, like
Yes.
having produced. I didn't realize T. Higgins is barely. He's had two seasons of 1,000 receiving yards, and it was just barely. Like it was 1,091 and 1,029. And then Brandon Ayuk has also only had 2,000, but it was 1,000 yard receiving days, and it was 1,015 last year, and then 2 years ago, and then this past year was 1,342. So been a good bit better than T. Higgins, and I hope to the guy that I'm currently arguing with on TikTok about CeeDee Lamb and Devontae Adams, you are wrong, and I will make sure you know you are wrong. This week's Boyo of the Week, we decided to go with big you-know-what-who, Nick Foles, recently announced his retirement. Did you have any thoughts as we've kind of reminisced looking back on Nick Foles' career?
I mean, when you think of Nick Foles, you think that magical Super Bowl run with the Eagles when he became Tom Brady's daddy. I mean, Nick Foles, he was as streaky of a quarterback as I think.
He only had not even streaky. He had one good year, and that wasn't even the year that they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he had one all right year, and then just which makes it even more random. The Super Bowl one that they ran on, because in 2013 he set the NFL season record for touchdown to interceptions ratio at 27 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and he stunk the rest of his career.
Yeah, I mean, well, he was good. He was pretty good in that playoff run.
Yeah, the playoff run he was. Yeah, but outside of that,
yeah, outside those 2 times, he was not. He was not special.
He was not good, and he bounced around a good bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking he was on the Bears, he was on the Rams,
he's on the Colts, right?
No, I don't know about Colts.
Yeah, Colts 2022, the Bears.
Yeah.
He started quite a bit ahead of. That was before Justin Fields started.
That's right. Yeah, he was. Yeah. It was him, Justin Fields, and was Mike Glennon there at that time? No, Trubisky.
No, it wasn't Mike Glennon. No, it might have been.
No, because Glennon was with Trubisky. It was Trubisky. Trubisky
Glennon was who they gave the 3-year contract to the year they drafted Mitch, and then Glennon started a little bit, but Foles was the Mike Glennon to Justin Fields.
Foles is to Mike Glennon what Justin Fields is to Trubisky.
He played that 1 year in which in 2013 he only played 10 games and he had 27, or he played 13 games and he had 27 touchdowns. Guess what his career high in a year outside of that year was for touchdowns?
7.
13.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't doing anything special.
But that's still like, and the crazier thing about it, he almost did that magical run again the next year. But Alshon Jeffrey fumbled against do you remember that? That was the double doink year.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the year of the double. Sorry to bring back flashbacks for all you Bears fans out there. But yeah, that was the double doink year where then that next round they lost to the Saints after Alshon Jeffrey fumbled the ball late in the fourth quarter as they were kind of going on a little bit of a drive to potentially make that a game.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that Super Bowl. He had 373 passing yards with 3 touchdowns and a receiving touchdowns. What's even crazier was that he called that play. There's always that clip of him going over to Doug Peterson to Philly special, let's run it. So yeah, any other thoughts about Nick Foles' career?
He was go to that University of Arizona, bear down. Bear down's what University of Arizona says, even though they're the Wildcats. I don't get what's going on there.
Cat down.
But yeah, I mean, heck of a career, Nick, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah, if you're ever looking to come on a podcast for a 10, 15-minute segment, our people have your people reach out to our people, and we're pretty busy people, so maybe we'll book you 6-7 months in advance. So,
Right.
Yeah. We got a lot of people lined up. This was a fun week. We got a lot of more content coming out that we'll hopefully record, or that we have recorded, and we'll continue to record here and post out. Did you have any final thoughts to lead us into this weekend?
No, I mean, looking forward to the NFL, college football, NBA, college basketball starting to ramp up, and once that happens, man, we're gonna get some good stuff out for y'all, and we're gonna have some we're gonna grind some content. So just stay tuned. If you're not already following all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, make sure to drop a follow there. We're gonna get this podcast probably on more platforms here coming soon, so stay tuned. But yeah, thanks for listening if you listen to this point, and see you next time, Topher.
Yeah. Hopefully, with the Olympics here wrapping up, we'll have some more. The ball talk Boyos will be back, fully in action. But we, like Joey said, comment, subscribe. I'll argue with whoever in the comments. So I'm chronically online. So I got time. So don't you worry about it. But I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we will see you all next time. Have a good night, everybody.